Sarah, tell me a little bit about your journey with moderation. Did you try moderate? Good evening. Hope you've had a good weekend. Welcome to our Sunday night live. I'm just going to seem to be getting better at this, so hopefully should be logging on. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about moderation, the idea of moderation. Is it part of the journey? Does it work for some people? For those that don't know me, my name's Ellen. I'm founder of Sobriety Sisterhood, and I have been very happily sober since 2018. Sarah is just joining us. And I help women, I support women in finding freedom. In fact, not just women, I have my Sobriety Sisterhood community, and I also still work alongside Be Sober, where we have men and women in our group that I'm supporting in their journey to find a life free from alcohol. Let's see if Sarah is joining us. I hope everyone's had a good weekend. I would love to know how you're getting on. You can ask us questions, send us your questions and I'll try and answer them. Let me know how long you've been sober. Let me know if you're still not yet sober. If you're not yet sober, what's your biggest obstacle right now? And also, we're obviously not getting better at this because Sarah's not yet joining me. And also, yeah, let me, oh, there she is. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm very well. It disappeared off my screen.
Very strange.
Oh well.
How's your week been?
Great. Feeling a bit anxious today. I don't know why, but sailing through that with a cup of coffee.
Great. Cheers to coffee. Oh yeah, I was just saying, ask any questions. Let us know your biggest obstacles. Let us know if you've given up alcohol, if you've stepped up with something else. Coffee has been my advice for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, alongside other things. You've had a good week though.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Good. Okay. So today we're talking a little bit about the idea of moderation. If it is part of the journey, if it needs to be part of the journey, if it is possible. Sarah, tell me a little bit about your journey with moderation. Did you try moderate?
I can't moderate with anything.
Interesting.
I am I used to be all or nothing. Absolutely all or nothing. And I used to, it's always been, once I pop, I can't stop. I don't have an off switch. If I'm going in, I'm going in.
Yeah.
Never been able to moderate with anything at all. I think that's been the biggest thing I've had to learn to accept in sobriety, is that certainly with alcohol, I cannot moderate.
Okay.
If I have, I used to say if I have one pint, then it's over.
Yeah.
The minute I had a pint, then that would be that. I knew that then that's my night. I'd be on a night out, and whatever happened. Now I say, I was sitting in a pub over Christmas, not this year, the year before. I've had 2 sober Christmases. That's quite a nice feeling. And my daughter's boyfriend had a pint of chocolate stout, and I smelled it, and I was about 6 weeks in to sobriety, or not drinking, and smelled it, and I was like, oh my god, that smells like it would taste so good.
Yeah.
And I went, what are you doing? If you take a sip of that, you know that you are going to have a pint of that, and then you know that that's it. And I'm not the kind of, like I say, I'm all or nothing. I'm not the kind of person who could have one slip, one night out, and then go, okay, tomorrow you get back on it. That would be it. It would be fucked for another 5 years or so. So, now I can't have one sip.
Yeah.
The minute
Yeah, it's
alcohol
interesting.
passes my lips.
It's interesting that I can't have one sip is also I'm very realistic that I don't want one sip. I never did want one sip.
Absolutely, yeah.
That
Yeah,
did
absolutely.
nothing for me. And it's interesting. I'm just remembering as you're talking. I've got sisters who are 20 something years older than me, and I remember my one sister when I was 7 or 8, her saying, "Well, I only have like 2 or 3 cigarettes a day," and I remember then saying to her, "Why?
Yeah,
Why bother? Like, what do you get from 2 cigarettes?" And I was tiny. I must have been under 10, and the idea to me that somebody would moderate something they really loved um, really confused me. And I was the same with alcohol too. Um, and that idea, that belief that I could moderate kept me really stuck, right? Like,
totally. I used to go out and think, well, I knew I was lying to myself. I mean, I knew that because
yeah,
similarly to you with the thing with your sister and had 3 cigarettes, people used to say to me, "Oh, no, I only went off for one pint." I'd be like, "Well, what's the point? Why would you drink alcohol? Why would you have an orange juice? Because surely the point of drinking alcohol is you're going to get pissed. Surely that's the point."
yeah,
So I used to completely lie to myself. Yeah, I'm just going to have one pint. I'm going to be home by 6, and it was just absolute rubbish. And I knew it was rubbish, but that was a good enough justification to myself, a good enough lie, a good enough bit of persuasion to not feel so ashamed of the fact that I was going out again.
yeah.
I would just take that lie. Oh, I'm just the words, like the words are ludicrous. I'm just going to have one pint. It's just nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
But it's
I don't
quite,
think,
yeah, it's quite, sorry to cut you off there. It's quite interesting, isn't it? Because it's not only the lie that we tell ourselves, right? It's the lie that kind of society is feeding us that alcohol is fine as long as you
yeah,
moderate.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely, yeah,
which those guidelines are changing as well, right? That actually there is no safe limit of alcohol. It is poison. As soon as we take our first sip, the body goes into overdrive. However, we have definitely, not every country is now still saying that. It's still that we have our units that we should stick to. However, you look up what alcohol is an addictive psychoactive agent. So, like having one, as soon as we take that first sip, we start to change, right? And
yeah,
the dopamine, the motivation to have another because it's linked to so many happy memories and good feelings, it's there. That drive to recreate that is there.
yeah, absolutely. And I think when I was, I went through a phase of, although it was quite short-lived, and when I've listened to other women in Sobriety Sisterhood talk about this phase, it seems to have lasted a bit longer for them. This kind of frustration and anger at why can't they moderate
Yeah,
like everybody else? Of course, everybody else isn't moderating, um, but the perception that everyone else can do it. Why can't I?
yeah.
And I think I did have this kind of short period of feeling like, why can't I just do it? Why can't I? Why do I have to pop? Why can't I just stop?
It's that whole thing of wetting the whistle, right? I was saying that the other day. It is, yeah. Once you pop, you can't stop. Once it's that motivation to carry on just is. I'm like it with food. I'm like it with
Everything.
dogs. I'm like it with. I was talking to my friend who's like, "Oh, I want the bath as hot as I can get it." Like these behaviours seem to be
Everything.
everywhere. So it is quite interesting. I don't know exactly why that is. That within this community, people tend to have that all or nothing,
Yeah,
kind of the black and white as well attitude. Is it very helpful? No, the one thing that I do find really helpful though is that we can opt out completely with alcohol. That we do get that choice because it's not like food where, of course, we all need to eat, we all need to nourish ourselves. It's not like sex and love. Like those are healthy things in moderation. Um, with alcohol, we actually can choose to completely opt out of it, which for me was felt so freeing when I realized that that was a choice, that I could actually give up the idea of moderation. And that was a special type of torture for me, the idea of moderation. Like,
Absolutely. Just better. I mean, I think, you know, a lot of, like, for example, if it's exactly the same as with alcohol. If I open a crisps are my thing, and it always used to be with you know, cold beer and crisps, and that kind of sweetness of the beer and the salt in the crisps. And if I open a tube of Pringles, I already know
yeah,
before I open them. If I open the tube of Pringles, I am eating the tube of Pringles. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind.
no,
So I have to open that tube of Pringles knowing
yeah,
and accepting that I'm going to eat them all.
yeah, yeah. Mine.
Or
Yeah.
don't open the tube of Pringles.
And it's the same thing, right? I mean, those in the group know what I'm like with custard creams. Luckily, I live in France, don't get them very often. My what I call my feeders will come over and bring them from the UK, and if they're in the house, like it's those mind games all the time. And that was how it was with alcohol. Of okay, I'm not going to drink tonight. Like the rules around my moderation were laughable as well, because it was like okay, I'm not going to drink tonight, and then it would be on my mind all day. So it wasn't like there was any freedom from not drinking, because there was
Yeah,
just as much like thinking about it, planning it, um, yeah, having these kind of almost fantasies over it and romanticizing it. Okay, well, I won't drink tonight, or I wouldn't drink. I'll just drink on the weekends, and then the weekends I would be like, well, it's Thursday, Friday,
absolutely,
Saturday, Sunday. Um,
absolutely.
oh,
Or it's
okay,
wine
well,
o'clock. You
yes,
know,
I'll just drink wine. I'll just drink spirits.
yeah,
I'll just drink beer. I'll drink water in between. I'll drink once a week. I'll drink once a month. Like, and I've
yeah,
always found a loophole. And it is for me. It was that difference of actually, regardless of how much I was drinking, if I did even manage to stick to my rules, it was still taking up so much bandwidth, so much headspace, that was tiring, and it was just torture. Um, and I
yeah,
remember when I made that one decision, I am not going to drink. I remember literally walking down the lane with my dog and feeling like I'd taken this weight off my shoulders of this is so much easier for me to just decide no.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think when I think back to God, the time and the energy, you know, how much did our drinking cost us? And that's of course not financial, but not just financial. The real cost of drinking,
Yeah,
relationships, jobs, achievement, family, you know, so many things.
yeah,
It's such a costly thing. Time, energy, and then financial. You
yeah,
know, if and I did sit and try to do a rough estimate of the financial cost of drinking and partying, and of course I could only add up the things that I remember drinking or partying with. Most of it I probably don't. Um, uh, it's just so much money,
yeah, yeah,
so much money, so much of my life and energy done.
yeah.
You know?
It's, I think I worked out again, if I had spent 8 hours a day thinking, planning, drinking, writing off my day because I was drinking, so from 5 onwards, drinking a couple of hours in the morning. I think I said last week that's nearly 3,000 hours a year. And if I said that I was spending an average of £8 a day on
Yeah,
alcohol, which just again, I had this real belief that I'm just, one of those normal drinkers, a bottle of wine at night, some gin and tonics, maybe some beers when we go out. Um, and that, yeah, again, that's nearly £3,000 a year, the cost of
yeah,
it. And always
yeah,
saying I don't have the time or money to do other
yeah,
things.
absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. I can remember being on a Christmas night out and someone was talking about the cost of doing something to do with sobriety. I can't remember the details. And she's like, I just can't afford that at the moment.
yeah.
And then spent 35 quid on three
Yeah.
cocktails. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
again, it's
You know,
prioritize. It's the same with like, yeah, fitness, with people are quite happy to.
Yeah.
I remember a dentist coming into the gym and saying people really, really moan about the cost of dentistry work. She said, but they think nothing of spending 150 quid on their hair or getting new
Mm.
shoes or these things when it comes to health, sobriety. Hey to everyone who's saying hi, by the way. Yeah, it's where we prioritise that money. So it's with moderation. I do truly believe that it's a really helpful. No, we read the comments. Hello.
Sorry, I thought we were going multitasking.
I'm just not very good. I will lose my train of thought.
I'm rubbish. I can't speak, listen, and text. And be sober all at the same time.
So there we are. What was I saying? Yes, I do think that moderation is actually a really helpful part of this journey. So many people are like, I just want to give up. I want to think about it one day, give up the next, and it doesn't work like that, right? I think we all do go through some type of moderation, and that is helpful because it helps us take a break. It helps us see what sobriety looks like, and it helps us make a comparison. There is real clarity in the contrast then when we start to take a break from alcohol and we start to really focus on what that break gives us. Then there's no denying the results. So anybody that's in that, like, oh well, I just want to moderate and I want my I want my relationship with alcohol to look like that, use it as an experiment, right? Like, if you can moderate and it's not on your mind all the time, then brilliant, maybe moderation is for you. I know that when I'm radically honest with myself, it's not for me, because as soon as I have the first drink, then I will be planning like, oh, okay, even if I had a drink now, maybe it would look like moderation to the outside world, but I know that I'd be like, okay, when shall I have my next drink? What will that look like? So I do think it's helpful for people to start moderating, just to see what it looks like. I definitely did. Would I do it now? Do I advocate for it now for myself? No, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that's so true. I have sometimes have this conversation with myself about what if one day, what if one day in 6 years when I think I've sobered, that I can't stop, once I pop I can't stop out of me. What if? And I have that conversation with myself and I just think, I know that it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
I know that even in 6 years, I would have one sip and I'll be on my ass again. I know that. And also, I think I don't think moderation would give the same incredible benefits as sobriety.
No.
This experience, this journey of sobriety that I am so happily taking, there's not very much I would sacrifice in exchange for this journey.
No, it really
There
is.
isn't.
It's an interesting subject in so many ways as well, because as a coach and from my personal journey of knowing that I have to be really, really honest with myself about the fact that I cannot moderate. I do not want to moderate because as I said earlier, I never just wanted one drink. If one drink's great, then I want 2 drinks or I want 3 drinks. And also, like you said, I don't get the benefits of sobriety if I'm not fully sober, if I'm not fully present in that, and it takes a little bit of work consistently. Moderation is only a thing for those who can't moderate. Yeah, right. Like but also in this work, it's really interesting. I had to get over almost my own ego with this, and especially when I went through the recoveries and addictions course of I invite people to take a break from alcohol. I invite them to get curious about what that looks like when they take a break with alcohol. But some people want to get to the end of the break and then choose to moderate. And as their coach, I'm there to support them to make sure that their relationship with alcohol stays safe, right? Like harm reduction, making sure that it's in a safe space is far better than looking at a dangerous relationship with alcohol.
Definitely.
So we still have people in the group. Like, I advocate for sobriety because I 100% believe that that is my journey, and I stand strong in that. But we still have people in the group who drink maybe once a week, maybe every now and then, but their relationship with alcohol has completely changed, and it's in a much safer space. So I invite them to stay connected with the group as much as
Absolutely.
possible to
And it's a
ensure that
personal
is,
thing.
yeah, yeah. And also invite others who are like, no, I want to stay sober, to stay grounded in their own reasons why, and to stay grounded in their own choice around alcohol. And like, we don't allow others to trigger us in their decision to moderate, right?
Absolutely. And there's no judgment at
Yeah.
all. Um, I was about to say, I wish I could moderate, and not with alcohol, but I sometimes feel how much easier it would be if I didn't have this all or nothing, or that I have had this all or nothing mentality, um, because so many things, so many, aspects of my life, I've had that all or nothing mentality with, and then I am suddenly in, totally consumed by whatever it is, and I'm so overwhelmed, and then my my mental and emotional health really takes a battering. So it would be so much easier, for me not to have this all or nothing mentality. But if I didn't have it, I wouldn't have chosen sobriety.
Yeah.
So, I'm really thankful for it with sobriety.
Yeah.
I think the thing is with, you know, some people might call it an addictive personality. With addictive personalities, then I've had to really, really work hard at kind of finding my way in lots of things, and I still am not there with so many things,
Yeah.
um, because I can't abstain from everything.
No,
you know,
exactly. There's some things that we can't and we shouldn't do, right?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely,
and sometimes that feels harder than just completely saying no.
yeah, absolutely. So I've got to, but I know that I have a tendency to work too much. So I have to really, really work so hard and be so conscious and self-aware of that, and do things like set timers on my phone. Right, you said you're going to do this for 2 hours. The timer's going. Stop doing it.
Yeah.
I had to do it this morning. I had quite a lot of work to do. I was like, right, you're not going to sit here now and do this for 7
Yeah.
hours. So it's really I'm really working hard to retrain my brain on so many things. It's a journey, it's a journey, and I, I wouldn't have had the self-awareness and the insight to be able to do that without sobriety. Through sobriety, I have gained that
Yeah.
ability. Um, I know I knew that I knew that I did everything to excess, you know, so hedonistic, everything, always on the pursuit of pleasure,
Yeah.
always, constantly on the pursuit of pleasure, or what I believed pleasure was, constantly.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm really working hard to try and rewire my brain.
Yeah. It is interesting that the hedonistic, the ego that was attached to it, I we said before, the kind of that the building the tolerance, the ego, the ladette thing, the that kind of energy. I was in college with just guys. I've got two older brothers. It was like, yeah, I can do everything. The competitive side of me to want to do everything the same as them. I don't know why it's like that, but I know through real radical honesty with myself and compassion, like it's fine. I accept myself like that, and it works for me in certain areas. And like you say, it means that I've had this opportunity actually to completely abstain from alcohol and gain all the benefits that come with that.
Yeah.
For anybody that is looking at like moderation, they really want to moderate at the moment with their alcohol use, I would invite people to have a think about the power of the pause, right? Like
So helpful.
putting in that pause can change everything. Before you do something, before you have a drink, just put in a pause and have a think about like, why is it that I'm having this drink? Like, what am I hoping to get from this? What do I need from this right now? Am I getting this from it? Am I getting what I want? Am I getting what I need? And then just be really mindful through your drinking, all the way through everything that you get. The first step: do you really like the taste of it? Do you, you know, does it offer you the comfort that you're seeking? All those kind of, does it allow you the connection you think it's giving you? Does it allow you the connection with yourself? All those things. Put the power of the pause in. And if it's not, at any point, remember, you can stop drinking. You don't have to finish the glass. You don't have to finish the bottle. You can put the drink down, and you can walk away from it at any point. You have that choice. You have that power. So moderation, maybe start to think of it as a gift that allows you to look at what sobriety could offer you.
Yeah, that pause is so important. You know, I think what I've really been conscious of how is, you know, of how impulsive I was or have been, and still now, you know, oh, I'm going to buy a bright blue furry baton, feather boa on Amazon because I saw one the other day and it looks great. You know, I could probably have 7 million bright blue feather boas, and it's that impulse. And I've, you know, been so impulsive with everything, um, and just being able to step back. And I mean, believe me, books are my weakness. Oh, Ellen says there's a book on. Well, I've bought it before you even finish the sentence. But so, but being able to pause. Do I really want
Yeah,
that? You know, am I going to achieve what I want from doing this action?
yeah. And with that sentence, I'm going to recommend a book. It is, and I was thinking about it, it is Dopamine Nation, right? Like
Yes,
by Anna
so
Lemke,
good.
who talks about the fact that we are a nation set up for that
Yeah,
instant gratification, and we don't have the power of pause in any way at the moment. Like Sarah said, we can, yeah, I'm looking at it here, we can instantly, before I've finished recommending a book, we have it at our fingertips within one click of a button. There is no pause between the motivation and the behavior, and we're not used to now. I mean, it's with shopping, it's with sex, it's with everything that
everything.
we can get what we want, what we need,
Or
really
what
in
we
the click of
think
a
we
button,
want and what
or
we
we
think we
think we
need.
want. Yeah, exactly. So it's that short-term gratification versus long-term gratification. Yes, saying no to alcohol, saying no to something that has soothed you, has connected you, has made you happy, had like, because it has done all those things at some point. Whether it's still doing them is something different, but we can instantly do it. So saying no to that's quite difficult. It is difficult in the early days, right? But it gives us so much more. So the long-term gratification is well worth the instant, the short-term discomfort in saying no. Um, in Dopamine Nation, she talks about dopamine fasting, right? That idea that we
Yeah,
take a break, not just from alcohol, but anything that gives that impulse. That reward system is skewed. So it's like, okay, how can we take this and have a real fasting of anything that motivates us to drive these behaviors, and then then just get curious. After that, you can make your mind up about moderation.
definitely. And I think that so fits with the kind of work you do on your emotional and mental health at the same time, you know, because I think certainly for me, although alcohol was definitely the gateway to some really destructive, other destructive behaviours. And actually, I've said this before, but since I stopped drinking, I don't miss any of the other things I was doing when I was drinking. Haven't had a problem with not doing any of the things, like the partying that I was doing when I was drinking. Just the fact that I've stopped drinking has stopped the desire to do any of those other things. So I, you know, that emotional kind of and mental well-being aspect wouldn't be possible if I was still engaging in some of those other behaviours other than drinking, not drinking. So giving myself the space um, to to work out what my core values are. I say that so many times, but I think it's such an important part of the journey.
Yeah.
So, you know, working on those core values and working out who I actually am without alcohol, who I truly am as an adult, um, who doesn't drink, how, how would I be able to do that authentically if I was still engaging in things that I did when I wasn't who I was, when I was drinking?
Yeah.
So again, that's the all or nothing mentality, right? So, well, if I'm being sober, then I'm doing all of the things. I'm not just doing some of the things.
Well, again, it's an interesting point because in AA it's that whole 90 meetings in 90 days, and
Sure.
lots of people really benefit from that. I do know people that have gone from kind of active addiction into active addiction of recovery.
Yeah.
It's it's less harmful, right? Actually, it's brilliant. But yeah, it's the same thing. Getting really
Yeah.
excited, getting really motivated. Cool. Like, where can we, that all or nothing can really work for us in certain places.
Yeah.
That striving for something can really work for us. So it's thinking about that. Where can we pivot that energy and that focus and go from, okay, I'm I'm really honest with myself. I'm all or nothing. What can I get into that's something that's really great for me?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's what are the what are the most positive and beneficial things can I be all about,
Yeah,
and the things that are the most negative and destruction can I be nothing about?
yeah, yeah. Okay. So a recap then for people that are looking for our kind of tips that we've given tonight. That if you're thinking about moderation, then I'd invite you to get really kind of curious about, if I'm moderating, what does it look like when I'm not drinking? What does it look like when I am drinking? Can I do a pros and cons list? Can I get really curious about it and really focus on it and be mindful? Can I be really mindful when I'm drinking? Can I see if alcohol is actually giving me the benefits that I'm thinking it does? Or are the beliefs I have around it true? Um, if I am all or nothing, where can I focus that in something that really benefits me? Sarah, any of the others? What else did I miss? Oh, the power of the pause, putting in the power of
Of
the
course,
pause.
yeah.
Um, what else have I missed there? Can't.
No, I think and not fear being judged in your community. You
Yeah,
know, if you are in a any kind of sobriety support or drinking less support community don't feel like there's going to be, don't fear judgment
Yeah.
because there isn't any.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So it's a question I often ask within the community and with my one-to-one clients is, give me the answer that's really honest, not the answer you think I want to hear,
Yeah,
because we can work with that. Well, actually, my 10 out of 10 ideal relationship with alcohol is this. I will work to disprove that we can moderate. Like that's always where I'm going to kind of come from. Is okay. Let's see where that goes. Let's see where it leads. Let's see if we can do it. But it's almost a lot of the time that we're chasing a unicorn. I just want to have one
yeah,
drink. I just want to feel the buzz, and then I want to stop it there. Okay. But that very honest. Let's see. Quite often people have to go through moderation 5,000 times. I did. Before I was like, yeah,
absolutely.
fuck, didn't work again. I'm back
Yeah,
to day drinking. I'm back to exactly the same old habits. But it had to go through that for me to get to the
yeah,
out of the waiting room of hope. Right, that waiting room of hope is a horrible place to be because I hope my relationship with alcohol is going to change. Once I stepped out of that, I was like, yeah, that hope's gone, and I've come to a place of acceptance that just doesn't work for me anymore. It never did.
yeah, absolutely. I think the difference is that if you're for me, if I'd be trying to moderate, I would be asked, I'd be asking alcohol to do that for me.
Yeah,
You know, I'd be kind of making a deal with alcohol, knowing that it wasn't going to keep its promise.
yeah,
With sobriety, I'm making a deal with myself, knowing that I'm totally able to do that.
yeah. And that you're in control there. You're in the
Absolutely.
driver's seat. Yeah, I love it. Okay, thank you very much,
Thank
Sarah.
you.
Anything else you want to add for this evening that we haven't we haven't covered? I'm so like I'm finishing up a session. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, no, it's great.
Yeah, lovely. Well, thank you for those who have joined us this evening. We are going to be live every week. If you have a subject you would like us to talk about, and if you want to share a little bit of your story, we'd love to kind of hear from you to share your successes, your struggles, and we can address those as we go on week by week. Next week we're going to talk a little bit about navigating bank holidays. Lots of those coming up in the UK, lots coming up in France, and we'll talk about how to navigate that, all the triggers that come with hopefully some sunshine, hopefully as the good weather changes, although it's snowing here today, so crazy, but yeah, big snow. Right, thank you very much, guys, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay,
See you.
take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.